Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. No, we will not start speaking about the game of yesterday, Milan-Juve, and you will tell me, Beppe, you're totally crazy. We just won against Milan. Please share your emotion, go deep dive tactically in the game, the individuality, speak about Max Allegri. That's why we are here, and of course I will take my time to speak about it. But I wanted to start speaking about Juventus Verona of the 28th of October 2023, so next Saturday, the one that is coming. Attenzione, super crucial, super important. And you will tell me, the sneaky ones between you will tell me, Beppe, you're speaking about Juventus Verona because you will be there, because you will be present for the first time this season in the Allianz Stadium. Well, partially it's true, so I want to remind all the people, ragazzi, please, if you travel there, if you are there, contact me on Instagram, Telegram, Twitter, whatever you want to, because I want to meet a lot of you. It's nice and it's fantastic to say thank you through a camera, but if I have the opportunity to meet you in life and saying thank you face to face, that would be for me the biggest honor. For the people that didn't do yet and I can't travel, please put a maximum like on the video, continue to subscribe, because now we start speaking about the importance of Juventus Verona. I told you, if we win at the triple whistle of the end of the game, if we have the 3 points, we could be momentarily on Saturday night first in the ranking of Serie A after match day 10. But that first position could possibly even be confirmed after the totally games of match day 10. Why? Because on Sunday we have already 2 big games: Inter, Roma, Napoli, Milan. The day after, on Monday, Empoli, Atalanta, Lazio, Fiorentina. If you're looking at the ranking of Serie A 23-24 after yesterday night, because Fiorentina still needs to play, Inter is at +2, Milan at +1. We know that these teams will play against Roma and against Napoli. So pay attention, because everything can happen. And that's why the victory of yesterday, 1-0 against Milan, is crucial. Because without the win of yesterday, today we would probably not even speak about Juve Verona. I would love that next week, or at the end of the week, Saturday night or Sunday, when still in Torino, I'm able to record a video telling you, ragazzi, we are momentarily first in the ranking of Serie A. And the game of yesterday is just the small thing that is telling us, Beppe, that win of yesterday, but also the one of Lecce, is giving us the opportunity to dream big. Now, I don't want to exaggerate, because Gazzetta dello Sport is going with the title in the page 2 and 3 with Scudetto arriva la Juve. Scudetto, Juve is arriving. What did I tell you? And I don't want to change my narrative in this morning's video. I told you, if Juventus lose, we can probably already say goodbye to the Scudetto, because +7 of Milan, with a lot of teams, because it's a compact ranking of Serie A, would be tough, would be difficult, especially mentally would be hard. If we draw that game against Milan, -4, we are still there, we are consolidating the top 4 dreams, and okay, if we win, we open the door for dreams, but I told you we would not be yet a contender, a serious contender, a favorite for the Scudetto. So I told you, even winning against Milan, wait, calma. So let's not exaggerate and now saying Juventus is obliged to win. Juventus will win the Scudetto. Juventus is the strongest one. I don't want to go towards that narrative because it's super early in the season. Match day 10 will have to be played. We have 38 games in Serie A, so Serie A will be long. And especially if we are analyzing now the game of yesterday, because now we are entering into the debrief of Milan-Juve. I told you we won 1-0, great for the ranking, great for the morale, great to be aware that we can beat away from home a big team, and all these things were important, but we have a few pictures of that game. The first one is the starting lineup. Starting lineup that is starting 1 minute with the intentions to play in San Siro, but only 1 minute. Because from the moment that Leao touched that first ball, Juventus started to be scared and started to go down, started to play a bit deeper. Something that I was scared about, and I asked in the video of yesterday, please don't do that mistake that we already did in Bergamo against Atalanta. A game where Juventus was all behind, was playing really, really down, really deep, and waiting for something to happen. In Atalanta game, it didn't happen. We didn't go on target, we didn't shot, we didn't score. We were lucky that Atalanta was not able to score because we were risking at the end of the game, and it was a ugly 0-0. A draw that First of all, I never celebrate a draw, but the draw that even the performance was absolutely not beautiful. And I was scared that we would replicate that against Milan. Well, after 1 minute, we were exactly repeating what we were doing against Atalanta. A team that, according to me, when they saw Leao touching the ball, they were scared. With Leao on that side, Pulisic on the other side, with Bremer on Giroud, you had tactically two players, because Max Allegri asked two players, Kostic and Rugani on Pulisic. On the other side, Gatti and Weah on Leao. And you know what that created? A Renders that was able to move with the ball between the lines and to create difficulties to Juve. I have to admit that it's true, Milan had only one shot on target until that moment. Milan was in domination, was in possession, was gaining on the field, but they were not really dangerous. The problem with that is at a certain moment something will happen. And probably you will lose the game. And then it will be extremely hard to go and to win because you don't know how to do. And that's really dangerous because then you are exposing yourselves. Probably Leao, with his velocity, will go in counter-attack. You will take the 2-0 and the game is over. So that's something that I absolutely didn't appreciate yesterday. If we want to compete for a Scudetto like papers are speaking about today, we will have to do much better than what we did in the first half yesterday. So did I appreciate that way of playing of the first half? Absolutely not. And then two things are changing the game. That miracle save of Szczesny on Giroud in the early beginning of the game, because if that's a goal, forget about it. I told you, I already explained to you what would happen. Counter-attack 2-0 for Milan and the game is over. But underrated, and we didn't speak enough about it, that fantastic save of Szczesny that is keeping Juventus alive at that moment. And then you have, of course, that other turning point of the game, that red card of Ciao on Huijsen. Huijsen that, according to me, until that moment was the best one of Juventus because guys, he was isolated, but always able physically to protect that ball, to turn himself, to find the right spot and to be there where he had to be. He was fighting alone against everyone. Unfortunately, Juventus was that deep that from the moment that we recuperated the ball with him, with Locatelli, with whoever, we had no solution. It's not the first time that we see these kind of things, that we have no solution. But then you have that red card on Ciao on Huijsen. Can we speak about the fact that it was a red card? Absolutely not, because it was a red card. And luckily, Milik is doing the right movement, because him dropping down is attracting Tomori, which makes that Thiaw is last man, and that's why the red card is justified. And then, of course, you have that beautiful picture, the decisive goal of Manu Locatelli that is winning that game, that is bringing the 3 points from Milano to Torino. It's not the first time that he's scoring in that game. Milan-Juve, he did it 7 years ago. On the 22nd of October 2016, 1-0 for Milan with a fantastic goal of Locatelli at the 65th minute. Unfortunately, I remember that. But then he's doing it again yesterday on the 22nd of October 2023. So 7 years later at the 63rd minute. So 2 minutes and it was purely exact the same thing. He's scoring yesterday a banger, deflected. Of course, I don't know if that goal would have, if the ball would have gone in the net or not. But it's something that not only the Opta Paolo, the statisticians between you remembered, but also him. Because before the game, he said to Rabiot, you know that in this stadium 7 years ago, I scored a goal and it was a decisive one. With Rabiot that is telling him, as a real captain, you know what? Today you will do it again. And you will do the decisive goal, you will score, and you will bring the 3 points to Juve. And actually, he predicted what happened, because that's what we did. And after the game, Locatelli was crying in the arms of Rugani. Beautiful performance of Rugani again. I think that now people are starting also to praise the performance of Daniele, which makes me really happy, because a lot of time the guy was suffering of insults before even playing the game. When they saw him in the predicted lineup, they were already starting to insult the number 24 of Juventus. So I'm happy that we are now starting to judge him objectively. Does that mean that when he's doing bad we can't criticize him? Absolutely not. If he's playing bad, we criticize him, but we criticize after the game, not before. But Locatelli, I remember that he told me live when I was with him on Twitch, he told me that he really wanted to score. He needed that goal, and that goal in San Siro made him absolutely emotional, saying, you know, For me, playing in that stadium where I grew up in the youth academy was important. Doing it, scoring it with a decisive goal with the team I love, the team I wanted to be at, is even more important. Manuel Locatelli, for me, best one of the game. He was the one that touched most time the balls, and that's so important that our midfielders are taking responsibility, also trying to play vertical. I really loved Locatelli from the 63rd minute on. From the moment that he gave actually Juventus that lead, he was the player that I fell in love with. The player that was in charge of the game, taking the ball, opening on the right side, on the left side, going back when needed, managing that ball. Yesterday he did a really beautiful game. I was expecting a bit more from him in the beginning of the game, where he was more, again, supporting the defense than playing for the team. So I want to see a Locatelli from the 63rd minute on, always, and then you will see a phenomenon of the midfield. The one that we saw before that is a good player, is a supportive player, is a team that is there to sacrifice himself for the team defensively, but not enough offensively. Then what about the other players that I liked, that I didn't like? I liked Weston McKennie combination on the right side with Weah. Weah, that was the best one of the 4 USA players that were present on the field, counting also the ones of Milan. Szczesny, miracle save. I like the performance of Rugani, but also the one of Bremer yesterday. A bit less the one of Gatti, that was fighting one-on-one against Leao. A lot of time Leao was able to dribble him past, especially in the first half, so it was quite difficult for Gatti. But anyway, he was there, he fought, so okay. I like the performance of Moiskin, as I told you, and the players that entered, I really appreciated the game of Cambiaso. That when he enters, you clearly see a different way to interpret the role on the left side of the field. Cutting in a lot of time, playing with his left, playing with his right foot. Cambiaso, that Cambiaso reminds me the first one that we saw against Udinese, and reminds me of a player that I want to see as a starter, because the 2 players that I didn't appreciate that much yesterday were Arkadiusz Milik and also Kostic. I think that these 2 players had to do much better. They can do much better in the game of yesterday. Now, Max Allegri. I was pissed off with Max Allegri, not for the teams that he's lining up, because at the end it's probably the team that he had to line up, because not a lot of players were available. When you have no Pogba, no Fagioli, when you have no Vlahovic, no Chiesa from the beginning of the game, no Danilo, it's difficult to set up a team differently than the one that he set up yesterday. But I'm not happy with the way that he talked to this team in going back in the first half, not taking their chances, being a bit scared, because as a coach, as a leader, you should also transmit the fact that you can win in Milano. Then everything can happen. You can win, you can draw, you can lose. But transmitting that, because otherwise, if we are always going like we did against Atalanta, like we now did against Milan, it will not always happen that Milan will have a red card, that we will score a goal with a deflected ball, and then it starts to be really difficult. It will not always happen. Does that mean that we didn't deserve to win yesterday? No, we deserved to win yesterday. But you are putting yourself in difficulty. I didn't like also the start of the second half, when you are with 1 man up. When you are playing 11 against 10, and for 10 minutes it's Milan that is attacking. So also that half-time talk in the locker room was not really one that said, go for it, kill the game. And that's probably something that I was expecting. Then we saw yesterday that he was furious at the end of the game. A lot of people criticize it. I will never criticize coach for doing that, especially if we are praising Antonio Conte reaction and then we are pissed off with Allegri. Yesterday, he knew in the last 10 minutes how important and vital that game was here. For the brains, for a week where we could tranquilly, relaxed, prepare the game of Juve Verona, knowing the importance of it after now 2 years and a half of him being at Juve, after a flop year in the first year, probably overestimating his skills, but also the team at disposal. This year, we know it, no mercato. We were playing against the Milan that was playing with our money, because they received that money, because they qualified in Champions League, not even deserved on the field. He knew how important it was. So I will never criticize the way that he's acting, but I wanted that anger, I wanted that grinta from Max Allegri also before the game, during the week. If he's able to transmit that, what he did yesterday on the field, if he's able to transmit it also in the locker room, before the game, in training session, I'm sure that Juventus would probably play with a bit more balls. That's what I think about it. And then I wanted to finish the video with another guy that I waited for me until the end of the video. This is the gift for the loyal ones, the ones that are waiting until the video, because I wanted to speak about Dean Huijsen. You know, I always speak extremely well about him since he arrived from Malaga. Go back to the videos because the guy is predestinato. It's already written there in the books that he will become one of the best defenders of the world. That's why I want to praise also first Max Allegri. He didn't start him yet in the 8 first games of Serie A. He did yesterday when we were up 1-0 only. It was not 6-0, 4-0. No, it was only 1-0 with 20 minutes to play, including also extra minutes. He's launching the kit in San Siro in front of 75,000 tifosi. He's entering that game ice cold with the maturity that reminds me of Beckenbauer. A maturity like that. First official game in San Siro. And you see Leao that is immediately going on his side. Go back and watch the first minutes of Huijsen. Leao that is changing side, going on the side of the Dutch 18 years old kid born in 2005, because he's probably thinking, you know what, that kid, I will show him. And that's where I will hurt Juventus. Dean Huijsen at that moment is anticipating with all his body, Leao taking the ball. Fantastic move, telling, oh, Leao, I know what I'm doing. I know my capabilities. And then also the other one, that other push, that fantastic push at a certain moment, showing I'm here. How many times did I tell you in football it's important to do the first fall? Just to let people know the duels, physicality, I'm here and I will fight. I'm not just here to be sacrificed because I'm a young kid. No, I'm showing who I am from the first second of the game. Ragazzi, maturity, already speaking with his arms, seeing where people have to go. The player is already complete. Now, don't push too hard, because we know that with kids you have ups and downs. We have to be patient. But Dean Huijsen deserved to play yesterday against Milan and probably will deserve to play more and more and more this season. Don't forget, the 22nd of October is the day that Manuel Locatelli changed the story from 2016 until 2023, but it's probably also the day that Dean Huijsen started to write the first page of a fantastic, beautiful book, and hopefully a book that can be there for years in Bianconero. Thank you for listening. If you didn't yet, please, maximum of like, continue to subscribe to the channel. Grazie, forza, Juve.